Okay, so today's Dharma discussion will be celebrating the flower festival or Vesak. What's really amazing about this is all over the world, people today are celebrating the flower festival or Vesak Day. Some traditions do it in May, but the majority do it in April. And it's a celebration of the appearance of the Buddha in the world. But it's more than just the appearance of the Buddha or the birth of the Buddha in this world. The Buddha was once asked, "Are you a god?" And the Buddha said, "No, I am not a god." And they asked him again, "So then are you the recreation of a god or a demigod?" And the Buddha said, "No, I am not a demigod." Perplexed, they said, "Then you must be a wizard, some kind of great magician." And the Buddha said, "No, I am not a magician." He said, then you're just a man?" And he said, "No, I am not just a man." And these Brahmins were so confused by what he said, and they said, "Well, what are you then? Who are you? What are you?" And the Buddha simply replied, "I am awake." Today we're not only celebrating his birth, but we're celebrating his awakening. And not just his awakening, but also his passing away. Today we're celebrating the whole life of the man we call Buddha, or awakened one. Together, we are also celebrating our own miraculous birth. The amazing birth that we have and the Buddha, the very fact that we are born and alive is a precious gift. And in a meaningful way, Vesak Day is a celebration of this very fact. We celebrate the fact of being alive, the fact of taking a breath. We celebrate also knowing that the Buddha's birth and our awakenings are mutually dependent. So some may wonder why we do Vesak Day, we do Hanamatsuri Day in the spring. But I think as Miriam said, it's kind of obvious. Nobody has any idea when the Buddha was born. Whether it was April or August is irrelevant. I think Vesak is celebrated during spring, allowing nature to be a teacher and a poet. During the spring, the natural world awakens from its winter sleeping, and the Buddha coming into the world is like the world waking up. Many of us understand this, who were sleepwalking through our lives before we found the teachings of the Buddha and the community of the Sangha. The first exuberant blossoms of spring waking from within the peach tree remind us of the possibility of our own awakening. This day also is a day for us to reflect on the miracle of birth itself. We're grateful for the birth of Buddha and our precious birth. Each individual life, each life is utterly and absolutely unique and unrepeatable. And in that fact makes each and every life sacred. Today, we can reflect on this fact of how precious life is, and not just a life to endure, but through the Buddha's teachings and example, an awakened life to be lived in gratitude and joy. In the Buddhist tradition, our human birth is seen as a precious gift, more precious than any human treasure. In the Chigala Sutra, the Buddha speaks of the chances of being born a human and how great and precious that is. So he gives an example of an ancient turtle in an ocean the size of the planet, and an ox yoke thrown on the water. This turtle is so old that he's a blind turtle swimming through the ocean. And the chance of us being born is the same chance of that blind turtle coming up in that ocean once every 100 years and putting its head through the circle of that yoke. So let's put this in modern terms, and let's look at that yoke not as an oxen yoke, but as a life preserver. and we have a life preserver on the ocean, what is the chance that our blind little turtle is going to pop its head up there and us be born? Well, there's a guy who figured this out. His name is Dr. Ali Banzir, and he's a mathematician. So he took the size of all the oceans, and he took the size of the opening of a life preserver, and he calculated the odds of this small turtle putting its head through the hole. And this is on a perfectly glass, smooth ocean with no currents and no wind. And he came up that the odds would be 1 in 7 trillion. 1 in 7 trillion. Well, he said, okay, this is just some story in a book from a long time ago. So he didn't want to stop there, and he went on, and he said, okay, so let's look at each of our births. The probability that we were born to experience the world. So, to be concise, he found that the odds of your parents just meeting was 1 in 20,000. Then again, talking to one another is another 1 in 10. And wanting to talk again, Grandpa didn't screw it up, was 1 in 10 also. So the probability of them liking each other enough to get married and have children was 1 in 400 million. Okay? This is just your parents. So not stopping there, he went on to figure out what would be the probability of the chance of that one sperm carrying half of who you are, and that one egg carrying the other half of who you are, actually meeting in the womb, or the fallopian tube, and actually going full term. So he calculated that that number is 1 in 400 quadrillion. Okay? So the chance of you being here today is 1 in 400 quadrillion. That makes the lotto look like guaranteed win. Doesn't it? But he doesn't stop there. He goes back all the generations. That's just you and your mom and your dad making you. If you go back 150,000 generations, which is about what it is taking in and evolution and migration, get a load of this. If he figures that out, then it's 400 quadrillion raised to the 150,000th power. So the odds that you'll be here, alive today, is 400 quadrillion followed by 2,640,000 zeros. And this all happened, this all conspired. All these causes and conditions came together so that you could take a breath. So that you could smile when you see a bud on a tree. Hear a baby laugh. Hear someone say, I love you. And we complain about traffic. And we needlessly worry and try so hard to be special. You already are special, followed by 2,600,000 zeros. From this simple example of probability, we can see the Buddhist teachings of interdependence. All the causes and conditions that have conspired to make you, we celebrate this day. We can see from this that we are a rare and wonderful gift, and our births are too. When this really sinks in, then we may even ask ourselves the same question that Mary Oliver, the poet, asks in her poem, Summer Day. When she asks, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild, precious life? Vesak Day is a good day to ask ourselves this very question. What is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Reverend Shelley Fisher of the Reno Buddhist Temple, she says, realizing this, realizing that we can see our birth is truly rare and a wonderful gift, we feel a deep obligation to live this life in mindfulness and joy and compassion. All of the events that we contemplate on Vesak Day, the Buddha's birth, his awakening, and his death, all of these events are linked in the Buddhist message. They are all connected to the result of Shakyamuni Buddha's search to know himself. And he invites us to do the same thing. Tara Brach writes that we learn from each of these events of the Buddha's life that each of us have the potential to realize and live from an awakened heart and mind. And when this happens, we all become Buddha. We are all born as Buddha. When we are awakened to our own Buddha nature. So when I say we all become Buddhas, what does that mean? That's a good question. And what does that mean, not just in a poetic sense, but in an everyday sense? If we don't take Vesak Day and turn it into something that we can use in our everyday lives that resonates with us, then it's just an empty ritual. So I want to share what I shared at our last Vesak Day, and it was written by Dojin. And she is one of the head priests at the Stone Creek Zen Center. And I love this. And today is a good day, as any, to deeply thank this person for what he brought into the world. But today of all days is also a great day to really think about what Buddha is. Because what a Buddha is not limited to one person. What Buddha really is a moment whenever great wisdom and compassion come together in this world, in a thought or action, in a kind word, in a moment of selfless generosity, and helps to free us and free this world. That's what Buddha is. What a Buddha is showing up in this world, and what that means is that when any one of us, or anyone else in the world suddenly remembers how precious we are, how unique we are, and how important all the beings and things around us are, and how we are so closely connected, and we act or speak even from this place for but a moment. We have some reporters who want to just come and take some pictures or photos. Is everybody comfortable with that? Not comfortable? If you're not, we'll tell them to go away. Right? Anybody not comfortable? Okay. So that's what Buddha is. That's what this day is. This day is about that realization, about Buddha showing up in the world. You are Buddha. You can reach out to anyone in your life. And it doesn't have to be anything grand. It's those simple moments. I want to share one story with you. A friend told me about, she was driving and she had just broke up with somebody and she was having family issues and she was in the car and she was just feeling the suffering and the pain and she was just sobbing in the car. And somebody in the car next to her, she just glanced over and he saw her crying and he smiled and he looked at her and he said, "It'll be okay." And she said that simple act of kindness made all of the difference in the world. That is Buddha appearing in the world. We can do that any day, every day. And that's what today is about. It's about the Buddha's birthday. It's about our birthday. It's about an awakened life. It's about awakening the Buddha within us. What I want to do is I want to give you a few moments before we do our washing the Buddha ceremony to share what the teachings of the Buddha, finding the Sangha, have done for your life. And this is a day for us to share that grateful feeling, that being inside that the teachings have done for us. So the time is now yours to share. Namo Amigo.
Hi, my name is Rachel. Recently, I've really struggled with humanity as a whole and how harsh and abrasive people can be. My son has a rare genetic disorder in his lung brain and has several major issues. And I love him so much. But then when I see people on the street walking down the road who are obviously hurting and suffering, and I see that everyone just drives past and doesn't care, it hurts my heart so much. And when I come here and hear my sister talk about spring, it reminds me that there is still goodness in the world, that people really are still okay. Though I teeter-totter between, I'm always bouncing between they aren't and this practice has meant so much to me because it's reminding me that I'm not alone when I feel so alone sometimes.
Hey, my name is Don. I found that by being here and listening to the Sangha and the things that were taught here and doing the reading, that I have been aware of so many more instances to practice compassion. The world is full of pain. That's true. And recognizing it and then knowing how to react to it in a compassionate manner has made a difference with almost everybody I'm with. And in me. A great deal in me. So I've fortunately been able to grow, even at this age, and learn. And I'm so appreciative. I'm so appreciative of everything that we've got here. And I just want to say, I don't take that for granted because I take it day by day. Because I've known that life is short and life can be gone like that. And so every moment is special.